I would like now to call on the President of the South African Mathematical Society, Professor Hlengani Siweya, to say a few words and to introduce our guest speaker for the evening.
Mathematicians also tell jokes. I'm wearing a hat. It's not a sign of disrespect. It is an indication that my term of office is nearing its end. In fact, by the end of this week, I will no longer be president. But importantly, I will be the immediate past president. When I was born, I understand that my father gave me a name and he said I'm Abel. Those days, those many years ago. And when I went to school, I had forgotten the name that they had given me. So they asked me, what is your name? So I gave them my name. Most of you know me as Hlengani. That Hlengani. And then they said, now, what is your English name? And I had forgotten. So then they gave me names that I must choose one day. And I said, I'm James. Unfortunately, my father passed away when I was 7 years old. So I never got to know him and understand what kind of man he was. All I do know is that he used to wear a hat. That's what my mother told me, that no, your father was wearing a hat, he was a gentleman, and so on. So you will excuse me to come to the fore and address you with my hat on. But because I respect you, I'm going to take it off. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who have been members of the South African Mathematical Society for the past 2 decades, at least, will agree with me that there has been no vice-chancellor who took the South African Mathematical Society Congress so seriously to the extent of sponsoring and hosting a reception of the Congress. For that reason, I want to ask you to join me in applauding Professor Derek Swart, the Vice-Chancellor of this university, for the stewardship of this institution. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, you are a true leader, and the South African Mathematical Society acknowledges your leadership. Let me recognize my friend, Professor Anton Stroh, the Executive Dean of Science and Agricultural Sciences at the University of Pretoria, for abandoning his office for this week to be with people who speak his language, which is mathematics. Anton, thank you very much for being here. Amongst us this evening are delegates from the American Mathematical Society and other distinguished mathematicians from the rest of our beloved continent and Europe, whose presence I also want to acknowledge. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, we are honored and humbled by the presence amongst us of the Honorable Deputy Minister of Science and Technology, who is a familiar face to this community. Some people were asking me that, is he a mathematician or a physicist? And all. I said, he's one of us. As they say, all protocol observed. We thank you so much for making this Congress part of your schedule. Mr. Vice Chancellor, without seeking to take too much time, I would like to inform you and the Minister that the main activity of the South African Mathematical Society is organizing an annual General Congress. Our journal is called QM, Questionnaires Mathematica, which is not only SAMS-AMS accredited, but it's also ISI rated journal. It is an achievement that has eluded many journals, many local journals. We communicate with our membership through a publication that is called Notices of the South African Mathematical Society. This is our 54th annual General Congress, and is the second joint conference with the American Mathematical Society. Colleagues from the other side of the Atlantic, we thank you so much for accepting to join us in this Congress. There are, Mr. Vice Chancellor and Mr. Minister, around 270 presentations at this Congress, a third of which is about 90 presentations, are by master's and doctoral students. As a society, one of our objectives is the promotion and advancement of mathematics through a number of initiatives, including the South African Mathematics Research Distinction and the advancement of mathematics prizes that the society gives on an annual basis. The society has a membership of just over 200 mathematicians in good standing. We mean those who have paid their subscription. It's a small number, I suppose. But Mr. Vice Chancellor, Mr. Minister, I can inform you without flinching my eyes that we are the most visible mathematical society on the continent. The society is developmental in approach. That is why we work with the Association of Mathematics Educators in South Africa, the South African Mathematics Foundation, the African Institute of Mathematical Sciences, the South African Mathematical Sciences Association, the African Mathematical Union, the American Mathematical Union, the London Mathematical Union, the International Mathematical Union, and many other like-minded mathematical societies.